and welcome to the This Way Out podcast, a part of the This Way Out project. My name is Miguel Mata, and I would like to personally thank you for tuning in today to share some of your valuable time. This podcast is all about being a source of positive energy and messages. Here, I try to help those struggling with issues that can weigh heavily on the mind and make the world we live in seem like a dark and impossible place. I do this by sharing advice from personal experience, through stories from ordinary people who have overcome their own challenges, and other uplifting stories to help shed some light on the world we live in. In the end, my mission is to support you and help you feel better about yourself and your surroundings. All I'm asking for is a chance. Let's get started. Good morning, it's June 18th, 2020. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Are you in good spirits? Are you in good health? Are you in good spirits and are you in good health? I always wish that for you. I hope that you are. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm really glad that you did. And you're going to spend some time with me. Time is precious. And whenever, you spend a little time with me, I appreciate it very, very much. This past Tuesday, when I did the Tuesday check-in on my social media platforms and right here on YouTube, I talked about 3 words, actually 2 words and a phrase: can't, impossible, it's always been that way. And I talked about how when you hear these words, when you're in pursuit of a goal or you're trying to, better yourself, they should be like trigger words that get you, that should motivate you to explore, a process a little bit more in depth, so that way you can get beyond those obstacles, because that's what they are. They're obstacles. And for today's podcast episode, I kind of wanted to dig a little bit into some of that stuff, especially like the word can't, right? And the word can't. If you're in pursuit of a goal, if you're someone who's, and once again, when you're talking about pursuing a goal, we could be talking about somebody who's if you're trying to be the CEO of your own company, or let's say you want to drop a few pounds, right? You want to lose some weight, or you just want to be able to get out of bed and face the world, right? Maybe that's all you want to do, because for some people that's a challenge. That word can't, it can really be a big thing to get over. And why is that? I kind of wanted to explore that a little bit. The truth is that we convince ourselves, many of us, and probably most of us, it's not all of us, convince ourselves at some point that we can't do something because we have these fears that are kind of embedded in us. Whether or not they're like psychological or sociological or whatever. It's in our programming, if for lack of a better word right now. And it can make, exploration, goal achievement, that sort of stuff kind of tough. And, I just wanted to wanted to explore some of those and address a few of them individually. The first one is the fear of the unknown, right? The unknown can be scary. Right? What's around the corner? I need to know the outcome before I even make the attempt. And I'm here to tell you, in most cases, at least in my experience, what your plan is going to need to be adapted at some point, right? You're going to need to make some changes along the way. But before what changes need to make, what adaptations you need to make, you need to get started. You need to take the first step, right? That's really what this is all about. Taking the first step, getting beyond your fears, getting beyond our fears, and taking the first step. And that fear of the unknown and wanting to know that you're going to have a good outcome, like wanting those assurances. I need to know for a fact this is going to work out before I even make the attempt. And I'm here to tell you that if that's your mentality, you're going to be stuck at go. Does that make sense? You're going to be stuck. You ever play Monopoly? Right? You're going to be stuck at go. Stuck at space numero uno for a little while. Because one never knows what's around the corner unless you take the trip around the corner, right? And then once you take the trip around the corner, more than likely you're going to have to make some changes and make some adaptations to your plan, right? But the trick is taking the first step and getting around the corner, right? Taking on the unknown head on. It can be scary. It can definitely be scary. That's what I'm talking about right now. Those fears, they prevent us from moving forward, from taking that first step. And fear of the unknown is a big one. Fear of failure. Failure can be, failure is tough on the psyche. It's tough on the ego, right? It's tough on us. It can be embarrassing, humiliating. It can feel degrading, right? It can be all the bad things. Whenever you fail in pursuit of a goal, when you fail, right? Let's say you wanted to get up and go outdoors, but you just couldn't bring yourself to do it. And you ended up giving up, and that feels like a failure. Well, I mean, tomorrow's a new day, right? Tomorrow's another day. And that's exactly the mentality that I'm trying to impart on those of you who are listening. Is when it comes to failures, when it comes to mistakes, right? Making mistakes, fear of failure, those are kind of partners of the same, two sides of the same coin there. Fear of failure, fear of making mistakes. These are opportunities for you to learn. These are opportunities for us to learn. It's not an easy mindset to adopt, but it's one that if you work at that, if you work at adopting that mindset, it can make looking at failure and looking at making mistakes a little easier, because all they are opportunities to, when you make another attempt at learning from. Does that make sense? I'm rambling. Let me start over. You're trying to pursue a goal. You're trying to get done whatever it is you're wanting to do. And then for some reason, the wheels fall off. It does not feel good. But if this is something that you really want, if this is something that you really, really want, you put the wheels back on and you make another attempt, right? You take a look at where things went wrong. You take a look at where things went wrong, and then you make another attempt. And that's really what it boils down to. Say, hey, this is where things went wrong. Okay, I'm gonna try not to make those same mistakes, and then I'm gonna make another attempt. Fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, they're legitimate and understandable things to be concerned about, feelings to be concerned about, right? They're understandable. Most everybody deals with that stuff. The trick is changing up the mindset a little bit and looking at them not necessarily as negative, but as positive. Positive in the sense of their opportunities to learn. Something to learn from, so that way when you make the next attempt, you just try hard not to make the same mistakes. That makes sense? I think this next one mostly applies to people who deal with like anxiety disorders, but fear of exposure. Does that make sense? Fear of exposure, being out in the open and for all to see. I understand that feeling. And not everybody understands what that feels like. But for people who deal with anxiety, that fear of exposure, being out in the open, right? Feeling like all the eyes are on you. I understand that. I understand how that feels. Trust me, I understand how that feels. And it can become that feeling can be so overwhelming that it makes you just want to run away and hide. I understand. That is one that you kind of got to work on with a friend, right? That's one that you kind of got to work on with a friend. If you have somebody who can help you through that process, maybe somebody who's willing to partner up with you and be with you at those moments where you feel the most exposed, they will help a lot. Their companionship, their support will help you a lot, right? It will help you a lot. And I know not a lot of people understand what I'm talking about when I say fear of exposure, but for those of you who do, maybe you can find a friend who can help you, right? A friend or a loved one. And if you can't, most of you maybe, and if you don't, but if you feel those feelings of exposure, like getting like really strong, make sure you're talking to your therapist. Make sure you're talking to whatever mental health professional that you have that can help you through those feelings. Okay? And let's get you back into the world. Let's get you back into the world. All right? It can be tough. It can be tough. And that fear of exposure that can accompany not only the people who suffer from severe anxiety, but when you make a mistake or when you fail, you feel exposed. It's that same type feeling, right? When you're afraid of the unknown, and you take that first step and you don't know what to expect, you feel exposed. You feel like you're out there for the world to see, and it can be very unnerving. But what I want to do starting right now is I want to encourage you and say that you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. We can be our own worst enemy when it comes to facing the world, trying to accomplish a goal. We can be our own worst enemy. And what I want to tell you is that you can do it. It can be so hard, and it can be so scary. It can be unnerving. It can be so you can be so anxious. I understand all of those feelings. I understand them all. And even after I have said that, and I can be honest about that, I sincerely understand how those feelings feel. I still feel confident enough to tell you that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Much of it is right up here, right in the dome piece. And you just got to convince this guy up here, that little voice in your head that tries to convince you that you cannot. You got to take some charge, face that little voice face to face, and say, I don't care what you say, I'm doing this. I am doing this. Doing this. With or without you, I'm doing this. Okay? Because you can. And it can be hard. I get it. Once again, I get it. It can be hard. But you can do it. Those fears that I talked about, the fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, the fear of feeling exposed, those are legitimate feelings. Those are legitimate concerns. Everybody, if you're human, I think everybody feels those things. Everybody feels those things. Everybody feels that way. Everybody feels that way. Not everybody necessarily feels empowered enough to just, take the bull by the horns. And that's fine. That's okay. That's okay. If you're not one of those people, that's fine. What I'm here to tell you is that, one, it's okay. Two, you can still do it. You can still do whatever you put your mind to. It's just a matter of getting the brain chemistry right? Getting this guy up here on the same page as you, and then taking the first step, because that's always going to be the hardest step. But I guarantee you, when you take the first step, taking the second step will be much easier. Taking the next step after that will be just as easy. I am here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that you can, and I'm here to tell you that I believe in you. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whatever it is, big or small, I believe that you can do it because I know that you can. Okay? Look in my eyes. I believe. Okay? All right. Well, you know what? I think we'll end the episode there. Once again, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you taking some time to listen. I'm still looking for podcast guests. I'm looking for people to talk to. I'd love to hear your stories. I want to hear some positive stories. I want to hear some stories of overcoming challenges. I love to hear that stuff. Maybe I'll share some of mine in the future. I like to hear other people's stuff because for me it's a little awkward to tell my own stories. It's not hard for me to encourage, but it's like this right here. But it feels weird to tell stories about myself. But maybe I will. Maybe I'll share one in a future episode if I can't get any podcast guests, right? But if you have a story you want to tell, if you have a story to tell, if you have something positive to share, please give me a call or send me an email. The email should be right over here somewhere. Okay? thiswoe.light@gmail.com. You'll hear it again in the outro. Remember, the podcast is available on Spotify, Castbox, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. I keep forgetting to mention YouTube. I've had this project on YouTube for a while now. So if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to click, like, and subscribe, and please share. If you're watching this, please share this. All right, this is a podcast. This is a show about positive energy and encouragement and trying to put the good out there. Okay, all right. I'm really very proud of you. I'm always very proud of you. You guys keep doing good work out there. We'll talk to you again on Monday. God bless. This has been the This Way Out podcast, a part of the This Way Out project. The This Way Out podcast can be found on Google, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Castbox. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to hear future episodes, please subscribe. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, recommend future topics, provide feedback, or any other reason, you can comment on this episode or send me an email at thiswoe.light@gmail.com. That's thiswoe.light@gmail.com. If you're interested in the other aspects of the This Way Out project, be sure to visit my website at thiswoe-light.com.